Hi there. Welcome to this special episode of Mr. Drive. This time no update on the latest improvement of Shots Regio Landen, but a dive into the past, in which disbelief, bewilderment and indignation go hand in hand. You can actually understand from the title of the video that the content of this video goes in that direction. What's going on? At this very moment, Mr. Drive is having a confrontation with our old friend COVID. You don't feel completely well when that is the matter, and you indulge in activities such as watching YouTube videos. This is how Mr. Drive ended up with a video by the well-known Iager. In this video, the Berlin M32 map was shown. This map is based on the famous Spandau Xtreme version that Mr. Drive built for Omsi 1 between 2011 and 2014. In 2015, Mr. Drive gave permission to a certain Timbas to use this folder. Just to be clear, nothing illegal happened. But the effect of Mr. Timbas is clearly less fortunate. Mr. Timbas promised to make major improvements to the map and to ensure that it can also be used in Omsi 2. He kept that last promise. During the Iager video, Mr. Drive saw that little had changed in terms of scenery, about 90% was the same. What was also striking was that the adjustments were not made on the basis of the latest version of the map, but on an older version that is only available through forums located in some Eastern European rogue states. Well, that made Mr. Drive curious about the technical details of the adjustments, so our famous map maker decided to download this modified version and take a closer look. To put it mildly, this new acquaintance was not an unalloyed pleasure. But before we list all the failures, let's first look at how this map was created under the skilled hands of Mr. Drive. Omsi came onto the market in 2011. Created by two young Berliners, they created the original version of their product based on their living environment, Spandau district, and then the Spandau of the early 90s. In Omsi Spandau, you can still drop the wall or rebuild it. Not long after the release, the Omsi community started to demand that there should also be a modern version of Spandau. Not only a modern version, but also an expansion of the number of lines. The first expansion of Spandau was created by an Omsi user known as Stocken. This was the first version of line M32. A not really good version, which actually did no more than drive roughly in the direction of the real M32, but had few external similarities. This version also had a very 90s feel. But this planted a seed because everyone who was a bit serious about Omsi now wanted the M32. This line gained magical status in the Omsi world. Strange in itself because it is a fairly straightforward line with few exciting elements. But history continues because in the meantime a certain David Rogers, of whom we still don't know if this is really his name, was busy modernizing the existing Berlin Spandau map, and he did so very convincingly. In the meantime, our Mr. Drive had also joined the Omsi Modification Guild, and he decided to use the work of Mr. Rogers, with his permission, for the much-mentioned expansion to Falkensee, because that was not included in Omsi 1. No sooner said than done, and the extension was built. Google Maps was not allowed there at the time, so it was a creation based on aerial photos and personal observations. But it worked out quite well. After this success, Mr. Drive got very excited and decided to build a map in which a number of lines could be driven outside the standard ones. The M32 was also part of this, a fairly extreme undertaking, so this map was named Spandau Xtreme. However, this dream was soon over. Mr. Drive could build this, but Omsi 1 absolutely could not process it. As soon as the ride started, the white buildings, black textures and translucent cars flew around your ears before the whole thing crashed. No success, and it became important to take the large 500 plus tile map apart. With doing it, 4 Spandau Xtreme parts were created. Part 1 with lines 137, 337, and M37 with the Falkensee extension. Part 2 with the M32 dual termini. Part 3 with lines 130 and 131. This version already had a EU11 before it became officially available in Omsi 2. Finally, Part 4 with lines 136, 236 and some bonus lines. Part 4 was later built much better by Busdriver 30. Now there was a series of modern extensions on the standard Berlin Spandau. Those extensions were very popular in the Omsi world. Together they had over 1 million downloads, but the M32 remained the most in demand. During those years prior to the release of Omsi 2, Mr. Drive kept working on those maps and improved them constantly. something that clearly is missed by Mr. Tim since he used an older version to build his so-called improvement. In mid-2014 Omsi 2 saw the light of the day. There was a promise that old Omsi 1 maps could be imported into Omsi 2, but that was far from the whole truth. Luckily Vlitberg could be imported without a problem, but the whole Spandau Xtreme series didn't go for that. Importing was unsuccessful, and after a lot of attempts, Mr. Drive stopped trying and decided to focus on his Vlitberg project. The Omsi world couldn't agree with that, and Omsi life without the M32 seemed impossible. Mr. Drive denied many requests to work on getting the M32 into Omsi 2. So somewhere in 2015, he got a PM from a guy that is called Tim with a request if he could use the map, get it into Omsi 2. He said he knew how to get that job done and make improvements to the map because it isn't completely real. After thinking it over, Mr. Drive decided to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, so he gave permission to do so. For the years to come, nothing was heard from that guy, so Mr. Drive more or less forgot this. That was until a few years ago when the release of the map was announced. One way or another, Mr. Drive never saw the release and forgot about it again till the moment he saw the video. Then he remembered he had given the M32 away. When he discovered that video from the always chatty Eager, he was happy and hoped to encounter a lot of progress. But nothing turned out to be further from the truth. From the first seconds of the video, it was clear that there were no visible improvements. In itself, of course, a compliment for our map-making hero, because this means that everything was clearly in order in terms of scenery, but the promises made did not last, and the fact that an old version had also been used gave food for thought. This creates quite a bit of resentment, and this video is the result of that.
Hello.
Why this tirade against Mr. Tim? What has this innocent Omsi user done wrong? The answer to this is multiple, and of course also a form of wounded pride. The ego always plays a part. First of all, Mr. Drive would like to emphasize that he is gentle with anyone who tries his best and dares to try to build an Omsi map. Many try, but often do not have the talents, skills and perseverance to complete it. But hey, they made an attempt anyway. Around 2015, Mr. Drive was an experienced map builder who got a request from a rookie. This absolute beginner seemed to have more knowledge because he managed to import the M32 map into Omsi 2. Something Mr. Drive didn't get done. Tim also indicated that Spandau Xtreme Part 2, M32 was not entirely realistic and could be improved. So that's where a typical German with a big mouth came into play. So here's where things go wrong. Why claim that it is not good? Say that you will make it better, and then don't let it happen? Worse still, underwater, the technical side. It's simply detracted from the map. Mr. Drive really blames him for that. If you don't know how things work, and that's clear as day, then stay away. Scenery is not Mr. Drive's strong suit. His great skill lies in the technical aspects of the map. Then it is strange that almost nothing has been adjusted to the scenery, but the technical side has been completely turned upside down. Let's list what's wrong. These are invisible things that have a great influence on AI, error messages, and therefore also on performance. While I'm talking, you can also take a good look at the outer edges and sight lines on the map. In the versions of Mr. Drive, the horizon was always covered. Now you look straight into the blue sky everywhere. That wasn't the case in the original and is not really realistic. See also the empty spots along the route. That is also new in this version. Furthermore, many sidewalks have been laid and finished very sloppily, which is also new in this version. Why this downgrade on quality? This is incomprehensible to Mr. Drive. Then the underwater story, new paths have been installed in some places. However, these paths were not connected, and in bends the pieces were perpendicular to each other, as in the first version of Bus Driver 30's Berlin map. Completely illogical. Good stretches of road were suddenly enriched with useless invisible splines. Stop posts are assembled without the use of an attachment function. Settings on bus stop cubes were incorrect. Bus stop links were broken. The Hoffel is full of errors. So improvements are hard to find. We can go even further. The card did not work because there was a fatal error in the humans file. The AI file had incorrect references and the global file was not set up correctly. If you look even deeper, you will come across very strange settings in the field of traffic rules and time schedules programmed on top of each other. It's time to stop. But finally, about the Dalgo Dobritz area. Tim completely demolished it to such an extent that this area is now full of hidden defects. For unknown reasons, he tried to remove tiles there. That is a recipe for disaster because often an area is permanently damaged and can no longer be used. In short, this new M32 is a disaster that Mr. Drive distances himself from. But there's no point in continuing this tirade. Things happened and things just happened the way they happened. Through this video, Mr. Drive has made his grievances clear. However, he does draw some lessons from this experience. He will not easily give away a map again, and if he does, he will want to keep a finger in the pie. But perhaps good things will come from this failure. We're getting closer to the Rathaus. You can tell that by the decreasing performance. For now, enjoy the ride and we'll talk to you later.
Eine Fahrkarte bitte. Hallo.
Did you enjoy what you see? This event woke up Mr. Drive in a way. Now that the Vlitland City Region project is coming to an end, a new challenge may be needed. The first plan was to stop building maps, but often the blood creeps where it can't go. So as far as we know, it could go either way, and with this disaster, another seed has been planted and plans could arise to build a new series of Spandau Xtremes, entirely in accordance with the Omsi requirements of today, which is of course a contradiction in terms. Nothing is certain, but the possibility is now greater than ever. Having said that, I say goodbye with a modest, until next time.